Did you know that your Apple Watch will automatically call 911 if it detects that your heart rate is unusually high? I, Chuck, didn't know that either until one morning when I was out for a run. I was crossing a bridge, something that always scares me, when all of a sudden my watch and phone started barking at me. When I looked down to see what was wrong, I saw that 911 had been dialed, and the operator had picked up the call. After an awkward conversation that added embarrassment to fear, I knew it was a run I wouldn't soon forget. I've been a runner for over a decade, and still, every time I cross a bridge, it causes my heart to race. Fear is like that, right? It's emotional. It's visceral. Fear grips your heart. Today, if I think about how folks across the country are feeling about race, I see that they're fearful. And I bet you'd agree. If our society were an Apple Watch, it would have been calling 911 every single day after the murder of George Floyd sparked a racial reckoning in our country. Yet while George Floyd's murder was a keystone event, it was not the first. In 2015, I was one of the pastors of a large multi-site church of 35,000 people, about 80% white and 20% Black, Indigenous, and people of color. On July 29th of that year, body cam footage from a traffic stop just 5 miles from where I pastored revealed the killing of an unarmed Black motorist named Sam DuBose by a gunshot to the head. A white University of Cincinnati officer pulled DuBose over for a missing license plate. The exchange ended with the officer firing his gun, killing DuBose. As the body cam video was broadcast on our local news, I joined a few of my fellow colleagues to watch. As the only Black man in the room, I felt both in community and also alone. I felt a special weight of responsibility that was unavoidable and would require something unique from me. I knew no one else in that room, as well-intentioned and heartbroken as they were, would be taking the mantle to lead our church in this time of crisis and division. Not because they weren't qualified, but because I was being called. But this calling came with the fear of leading our community well in this moment. And that made my heart sink to the pit of my stomach. I was standing at the edge of the longest, highest bridge I'd ever crossed. I had a choice to make. Did I allow fear to keep me stagnant, or did I move forward, flowing toward racial healing, solidarity, and justice by taking a more active role in the fight? I chose to flow. Flowing meant showing up at marches in my city to be a prayerful and faithful presence with others crying out for justice. It meant following brave leaders in my church like Carolyn and Elizabeth, who organized a Jericho prayer walk with hundreds of people seeking a just outcome in the case of the officer who shot and killed Sam DuBose. It meant leading prayer outside the Justice Center as the jury deliberated amidst a fraught and potentially explosive environment. Why was it important to show up in the middle of such tension? Because in the Gospels, this is where we find Jesus over and over again. Jesus chose to be with those most affected by the injustice in his day, chose to stand in the gap, chose to be present where there was pain. For lasting racial healing and justice to flow, we must make the same choice, to stand with those most affected by racial injustice,